This is the public hearing of the City Council Committee on Transportation and Public Utilities. The purpose of this public hearing is to hear testimony on bills number 180972 and 181007. I recognize the presence of a quorum of the committee with members Councilman Alan Dom, Councilman Mark Squilla, and Councilman Al Toppenberger. Will the clerk please read the title of the bill, of our first bill?
An ordinance amending Bill Number 100163-AA, entitled An Ordinance Authorizing the City of Philadelphia to Organize an Authority to be known as the Philadelphia Energy Authority, pursuant to the terms of the Municipalities Authorities Act of 2001, June 19, PL 287, number 22, as amended under certain terms and conditions, to expand the responsibilities and powers of the authority and authorizing an amendment to its Articles of Incorporation, all under certain terms and conditions.
Will the clerk please read the names and call the first panelist, please?
Emily Shapira, Christopher Lewis, Christine Knapp.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman.
Hey, good morning. How you doing today, Chris? Can you please state your name and title for the record and begin your testimony?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Christopher Lewis. I'm the chairman of the Philadelphia Energy Authority. I know that this committee has been waiting some time to begin today, so my testimony will be brief. I'm here on behalf of the Energy Authority to testify in support of Ordinance 181007. And as the committee knows, although the Energy Authority has a very small staff, our staff, led by Executive Director Emily Shapira, consistently punches above its weight. Recently, we received, on behalf of the city, a $1.25 million grant from the Department of Energy for workforce development and training. And I'm sure the members of the committee and council are familiar with the water and sewer line protection program, which we help create with the assistance of the city's water department. Let me state two things about the ordinance that is before you, what it does and what it does not do. What it does is clarify the authority's powers to make clear that the authority has the power to finance projects and issue bonds. We thought that power was clear from the prior language, but when we recently did a project for the Art Museum, council advised us that it would be appropriate and wise to have an explicit statement of that authority. That's what it does. What it does not do is give us any power to levy taxes, to create assessments or levies of any kind. So we urge you to pass this bill.
Thank you very much. Ms. Shapiro?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chairman Johnson and members of the committee. My name is Emily Shapira. I'm the Executive Director of the Philadelphia Energy Authority. I think Christine Knapp will not be joining us today. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it. I wanted to say I'm grateful to Council President Clark and Councilman Green for putting Bill 181007 before you today, which amends our Ordinance 100163-AA, our original founding ordinance of the Philadelphia Energy Authority. It clarifies the responsibilities and powers of the authority, as our chair, Chris Lewis, mentioned. PEA was chartered under the Pennsylvania Municipalities Authorities Act, and while that act grants many powers to municipal authorities, the previous language of our founding ordinance left some ambiguity as to the interpretation of which of those powers PEA may exercise. This amendment became necessary when we were working on financing for the roughly $12 million energy efficiency project at the Philadelphia Museum of Art. We received word from bond counsel that the language in our founding ordinance did not expressly allow for issuance of bonds. We have had some differing legal opinions, so the new language you see before you is designed to remove any ambiguity and clearly authorize PEA to issue bonds, and clearly allows access to powers granted in the PA Municipalities Authorities Act, which are needed to carry out our purpose and responsibilities. This new language has been reviewed by that same bond counsel, as well as the City Law Department and our own attorney. You might also notice that we've added language about energy storage, which reflects a change in technology from when our original ordinance was written, and also clarifies our purpose related to energy market development and job creation, which was written broadly before and encouraged some differing legal opinions there as well. In closing, we are grateful for Council's attention to resolving these ambiguities and look forward to continuing to provide real value to the city. I'm happy to provide any additional details that the committee needs. Thank you for your time.
Thank you both very much for your testimony, and I want to also take a moment and acknowledge the great work of our chairman, Mr. Chris Lewis. It's always a pleasure to see you, sir. Councilman Allen Dow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. I'll be brief. I'm just going to take this opportunity to ask you a question. Maybe you can get back to me with the answer. And that is, if you're the executive director of the Philadelphia Energy Authority, and I brought this up, I think, last week about the Art Museum. And there was a study done maybe 2 years ago by an engineering firm that said it would cost us about $20 million or so to convert the Art Museum from the current energy to PGW. And the savings, I think I recall, being about $2 million a year, which I thought was a pretty good investment on the city's part. It's a 10% return, and I keep repeating this because I want to make sure we follow the methodology. We own PGW, and so when we add $2 million to the revenue of that PGW, it's worth $40 million in value if we ever were to value it. So it's a big, big plus. So I just want to see if you have a commitment to work on converting that, and also looking at other properties that we own as a city that aren't using PGW, where we could see that cost-benefit analysis to see if it makes sense.
Absolutely. We did review that proposal for the Art Museum, and it was determined to not be feasible, unfortunately. I know they redid it twice, but there were some issues with connections and with the smokestack that would need to be affiliated with it. So we actually have looked at a couple of other great projects that would be a much better fit, and are working with PGW now to put some plans in place for those. Okay,
but keep in mind one thing, as I come from this background, when they first tell you no, there's also another way to go around and figure out how to make it happen.
Understood.
So I always say no is an objection to get to yes. So anyway, thank you for your testimony. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman. Is anyone else here to testify on this particular bill? I want to thank the two of you for your testimony. Seeing none, this concludes the public hearing for this bill. Will the clerk please read the title of our next bill?
An ordinance authorizing the Water Commissioner, the Revenue Commissioner, and the Procurement Commissioner on behalf of the City of Philadelphia to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Philadelphia Municipal Authority, pursuant to which the city will assume certain obligations under a contract the authority will enter into with Census USA Incorporated to provide, install, maintain, and operate facilities and equipment for the automated collection and delivery of water usage data to the Revenue Department or other designated city department, all under certain terms and conditions.
Will the clerk please call the first witness?
Deborah McCarty.
Can all three of you please state your name and title for the record, and please begin your testimony?
Deborah McCarty, Water Commissioner.
Hi, I'm Barry Davis. I'm with the city's law department.
Steve Janan, Philadelphia Water Department, Operations Administration Manager.
Please proceed.
Thank you. And good afternoon, Chairman Johnson and members of the Committee on Transportation and Public Utilities. I am Deborah McCarty, Commissioner of the Philadelphia Water Department. I'm here today to testify regarding Bill Number 180972, entitled An Ordinance Authorizing the Water Commissioner, the Revenue Commissioner, and the Procurement Commissioner on behalf of the City of Philadelphia to enter into an intergovernmental agreement with the Philadelphia Municipal Authority, pursuant to which the city will assume certain obligations under a contract the authority will enter into with Census USA Incorporated to provide, install, maintain, and operate facilities and equipment for the automated collection and delivery of water usage data to the Revenue Department or other designated city department, all under certain terms and conditions. I'd like to begin by highlighting some of the key benefits that will be delivered to our customers and to the city through the adoption of the Advanced Metering Infrastructure Technology, or AMI, discussed in this bill. As you know, many of our city's residents face significant daily challenges in keeping up with their living expenses, such as medications, groceries, and utilities, like their water bills. One of the key features of AMI is that its technology will empower customers with information about their water usage, including the ability to be alerted to potential leaks at their properties. This means that customers will be able to take action before they end up accruing high water bills. AMI will also give customers the ability to view detailed information that can help them better understand their consumption habits, giving them the control to manage their usage and save money on a regular basis. In addition, by providing us with real-time alerts for system issues like meter malfunctions, AMI will allow the Water Department to operate more efficiently to better serve our customers. With detailed data from the AMI system, we can do more to get out in front of such problems before they become headaches for our ratepayers and city residents. Even before customers start to see the improvements brought on by this updated technology, AMI will benefit Philadelphia residents in another vital way. This project will create a unique opportunity for approximately 60 Philadelphians to engage in gainful employment through work as AMI installation technicians, installing AMI components on existing water meters in homes throughout the city. They will receive a wage of more than $21 per hour, and with that, their included benefits package, their total compensation will be more than $38 per hour. This is the kind of pay that can make an important difference in managing the cost of living for themselves and their families. We have also partnered with Philly Works, who will provide support for recruitment and training, as well as stipends for a boot camp and ongoing support for our AMI installation technicians to help them succeed. Beyond that, once AMI installations are complete, AMI technicians may have the opportunity to engage in a long-term career path through entry into either the local electricians or local plumbers unions. In addition, PWD will also offer opportunities for employment as a PWD water operations repair helper, a job with a starting salary of $35,000 plus benefits. So, the work AMI installation technicians do will net them not only valuable professional skills and hands-on experience, but direct access to stable employment with notable advancement opportunities. The prime vendor on this contract, Census USA Incorporated, was chosen through an extensive RFP process, evaluation and negotiation process as well, with a selection committee of diverse subject matter experts that included procurement, Water Department, Water Revenue, Office of Economic Opportunity, OIT, and the Law Department. This group found Census USA Incorporated to be the best qualified based on its ability to deliver industry-leading technology and technical support, and its deep experience and demonstrated success in local deployment, having already provided their meter reading technology for PICO. Finally, I'd like to note that this contract exceeds its OEO participation goals, utilizing firms, including Philadelphia-based firms, that will provide services which are critical to this project. These services include network installation, meter interface installation, workforce training, and project-related customer outreach. I offer 2 amendments that we kindly ask to be reviewed and accepted by the committee. These are the revised versions of Exhibit B, the project contract, and Exhibit C, the project Economic Opportunity Plan. Both of these items have been updated to reflect the current participation percentages of WBE and MBE contractors on this project. As I hope I've been able to underscore, the implementation of AMI will deliver many important and lasting impacts for PWD customers and Philadelphia residents and families. AMI will allow PWD to continue to improve upon our service to the city, protecting public health, enhancing customer experience, and offering tools to help Philadelphians take greater control of their quality of life. To that end, I respectfully request that this bill be reported favorably out of this committee and that the rules of council be suspended to allow for the first reading of this bill at the next session of City Council. This concludes my testimony on Bill number 180972. I thank you very much for the opportunity to appear before you this late afternoon, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Commissioner, and as always, it's good to see you doing the work on behalf of the city of Philadelphia, whether it's out and about in the community, on the ground, addressing issues, or in the halls of City Hall. And so I just always just want to acknowledge your hard work and your dedication. Just a couple questions. One, what's going to be the strategy to recruit people from diversified backgrounds to do the work on a labor component? Like, I know there's a building and trades part to this, and so what's the city's strategy to make sure people of color get a chance to participate in this great project, capital project that's going to be taking place? That's the first one. And then the second component is constituents call me. Constituents have called in the past because the meter didn't properly record water usage, right? And they may say, well, I didn't know. And they get a bill saying, you know, your water bill was XYZ amount of dollars. You have like a forgiveness program that will allow, if the meter wasn't reading properly, a certain amount to be forgiven, and then the customer has to pay a certain amount. How does this also improve upon that type of situation? Those are my two questions.
Okay, so for the strategy for employment, we're relying on Philly Works, they have a proven track record, and they actually were here earlier but had a board meeting, so I don't believe anyone's here from them any longer, so they would have been here. But I think they have a good track record, and they're committed, and we've met with them to making sure it's local participation and Philadelphians, and of course, folks from underserved communities. And the second one
regarding the meter reading, yes.
So the beauty of this technology is people can opt in to be notified when there are changes in their consumption, whether that's a change where the meter goes to zero, and that's not typical, or whether there's an increase. So either way, our customers will be able to opt in to get those notices and alerts and avoid those bills. Because right now, once a month, we take a reading, and then you may not find out for another week or so, and it's been going on for quite some time. So more real-time notification, as well as if you've got questions, you can log in to the customer interface to see what's going on whenever you want. You wouldn't have to wait for an alert. So we see some big improvements for customer service with moving to the AMI technology.
Okay, thank you, Councilman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon. I'll be brief. First of all, I think it's great we're moving forward with advanced metering, and the detection is going to be great. And I just had a couple questions. Will this be the type of information that our residents can view on their phones?
If they can get online, yes.
So you can go online and see it on your phone,
Yep.
and you can manage it through that, which
Yep.
is great. It's great. And other cities are using this technology across the United States?
Yes, and Census has been, they have many large installations such as this.
And in the other cities, I know there were two bidders towards the end. I think one was called a Clara and one's called, I guess, Census.
Correct.
Which one seems to be more in the majority of most other cities?
Oh, I don't know that off the top of my head, but what I know is that Census was the lowest price. Their performance it's a performance contract, but they have better experience, and their technology exceeded the other vendors.
Okay. And question, we got this letter from Clara. I think you probably saw it. I just had a few questions on this letter. They're making some statements, Clara, and I want to make clear them for the record just to make sure. They're from the president of Clara. They're stating, our understanding is that Clara was the only shortlisted vendor that submitted a response that was in full compliance with the technical, commercial, and specifically the minority requirements and local labor content in the RFP.
That's not accurate.
Okay, good. And then another claim I just want to put on the record. It is our understanding that the prime subcontractor identified in Clara's RFP response has been requested to partner with the previously selected vendor so that the vendor would comply with the minority and local labor requirements and intentions.
So, Census complies, and their original proposal complied with OEO requirements. So, if that's who they're talking about by the previous vendor,
I mean,
it's not clear.
it sounded to me like Clara was was concerned that there was people who applied for the RFP, they had checked off all the boxes, I guess, so to speak, and other people who applied did not check all the boxes. We gave the other people more time for them to check off the boxes, and Clara is claiming that's not appropriate. Is that what's going on?
Well, what I can tell you with a request for proposal, there were 4 submittals. So 4 vendors submitted. It was narrowed down to 2, Clara and Census. And the RFP process allows some back and forth, some clarification on specifics and what the submittals have been. But it is not accurate that Census did not comply with all the check boxes.
Okay.
They complied with everything.
I just want to put it out there and get it clarified, so thank you very much.
Just to give you excuse me, it's Barry Davis with the Law Department.
That's the law department right
Good
there
afternoon.
responding.
There was a goal for this project, which was a 25% minimum for minority-owned business and a 5% minimum for women-owned businesses. And both Clara and Census met that standard.
Okay. All right, so I wanted to just put it out there because I want to make sure that we're going to ask to be taking a vote. I want to make sure we have all the facts.
And the Office of Economic Opportunity received all the information from all 4 vendors, and they actually made the decisions about whether the vendors had met the goals that had been requested by the city. So the Water Department would not have been part of that decision-making.
One other question that just came to mind, the credit rating of the finalists and their ability to perform, how does that, did you take that into account when you were selecting?
Yes, we did take that into account.
Okay, thank you very much for your testimony. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilman Dom. Councilwoman Sherelle Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good evening, afternoon. I forgot what time. When you're in this place, time passes by. We've been in here all day, right, Councilman Squilla? But I want to just say good afternoon to each of you. Say a special thank you to you, Commissioner McCarty. You have done an awesome job in your work, and this is a long time coming that we've been talking about being able to offer this program to the residents of the city of Philadelphia. So we want to thank you for helping us to see it through. But I want to turn to your testimony on the second page. You note that you are offering 2 amendments, and you ask that they be accepted by the committee, and one of them is the project EOP. And I just want to make sure and want to get on the record because, obviously, minority and women business owner participation and the ability to do business with the City Council of Philadelphia has been with the City of Philadelphia has been a priority for the City Council of Philadelphia. And I mean from one side of the chamber to the other, everyone has made sure that this issue has been a priority. And I just want to note for the record, am I accurate in my reading in that what you have noted here is that between the installation of network and electronics, along with project management and integration, we are able to see between MBE and WBE participation 30 to 40%. Is that accurate?
Yes, that's accurate.
Okay, so I just wanted us to note that we see this in the amendment for the benefit of the public, but relative to this opportunity, this is a 30 to 40% opportunity for minority and women-owned businesses in the city of Philadelphia. And so we want to thank you for that. The next question is, and again, I want to make sure my math is accurate. The technicians, right? Those are the people we are really concerned about. And I just want to, again, make sure that I understand this. There will be a 45% recruitment effort where you note that your goals, 22% African American, 3% Asian, 15% Hispanic, and 5% female. That's 45%. And I want to make sure that there were no typos. I don't want to, come back and somebody tell me that we couldn't meet those goals or, something, so you tell us about this.
Well, so that's for the 60 employees.
Yes.
Right. So
And
those,
here
yes.
that the contractor and its participants agree, like in the
Right.
best faith. And I just want to make sure that what you've added here is accurate.
Yes,
Okay.
that's definitely accurate.
In addition,
Excuse me,
Yes.
Councilwoman, I just wanted to be clear. This was the EOP that was approved for the project by the Office of Economic Opportunity back when the RFP was originally issued. So that EOP has not changed. It was an oversight that it wasn't included with the exhibits that were provided with the bill when it was introduced. But that has been in place throughout the whole RFP process, and it was very much integral to the selection and the oversight, and all of the vendors that responded to this RFP understood that requirement and were very much addressing it in each of the proposals. So we did have very good response from all vendors that were part of this process, and we ultimately selected the vendor we felt was the best.
listen, and for the record, I want to say thank you for your clarification, because what you've just done is something that my colleagues and I get beat up about. You put on the record that this EOP was a part of the process from the beginning. So you use these numbers, this data, as a driving force that you included when making a decision about who we thought was best suited for this opportunity, and not what we get beat up for often is that, City of Philadelphia, you only are concerned about it on the back end, and that's after we've, stood up and hooped and hollered about it.
Councilwoman, I think that it's well understood, particularly in the law department, that there should not be an RFP that's issued that requires an EOP, one that would come before council or would, for other reasons, require an EOP that isn't part of that RFP process, because we really want all of our vendors to know what our requirements are, what our expectations are in advance of them submitting those proposals. We don't want to have to go back to them and say, you didn't do this, you didn't make a commitment that's sufficient for us to approve you as a vendor.
Thank
you.
Thank you all for your responses, and I do want to say for the record to my colleague, Councilman Johnson, we all can't make sure that we're always 1,001% prepared for everything. And as the chairman of this committee, we rely heavily on your leadership, on your research, and your due diligence. And I want to say thank you so very much for making sure that all of the T's were dotted, crossed, and the I's were dotted, okay? Thank you so very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Councilman Mark Squilla.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just one quick question, too, and I think you said this already, but just for the record, you say that they were the lowest bid, but this RFP was really done on best value, correct?
Oh, interesting.
So this was an RFP where the selection criteria were in addition to price. So price was one of the criteria, but there were other criteria as well, particularly related to the technology and also related to the economic opportunity plan that was approved for the project. But as the commissioner has pointed out, we believe that the based on the evaluation that was done, we felt that in all categories, price, technology, and the experience in doing an installation, particularly in Philadelphia, given that they had done the PICO installation. And they, not just PICO, they did the PICO installation of the meters, the electric meters that are in the basements of people's homes. And these were the installations that PICO had deemed to be the hardest to install. And so they were successful in getting into all those homes. I believe there were about 30,000 homes that were part of that hard-to-install contract. And those are the challenging properties in an installation like this one. And we felt that this vendor really showed that they had the ability to do this contract.
And I can.
But they are the lowest price.
They are the lowest
Yes.
price, yes, and that was part of it. I just want, because we got burned sometimes in the past with, because it was the lowest bid and people end up getting it but weren't be able to perform the work. This actually had both, the lowest price and what we believe, or what you believe was the best value.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Al Tottenberg.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Mr. Chairman, thank you for your leadership on this issue. Very, very, very important. And Madam Commissioner, thank you for your leadership in the Water Department. I feel very confident we're always doing good things. I do want to ask you, though, you had said earlier that a number of big cities have taken meters like this. Could you name them if you could?
New York City?
Well, that's, New York City now has meters?
Yeah.
For a while, they did not have meters.
I know.
Okay, a lot of people don't know that. They used to get billed on the amount of flushable toilets they had in the building, which is kind of bizarre, but okay. But so New York City now has meters, and they're this type of meter.
They have AMI. So they have advanced, yes.
Yes, that was my, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And
DC Water, Boston.
Yeah, that's right, thank you.
if you don't know this
Boston
exactly, you
and,
can get this to
Washington,
me.
D.C., so
Oh,
D.C.
who else?
Water. Boston
Boston?
and Washington, D.C.
Okay. You know, that answers,
And we've visited New York and we visited Washington as well. Just before we issued the RFP, we wanted to see what they were doing, we wanted to learn from them.
excellent work. Madam Commissioner, thank you very much. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilman Allen Dow.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. One last quick question. I know we've had some conversations recently about laterals that are an issue. Would this pick up a problem with a lateral?
No, so what I believe, with lateral, we consider the drainage from the home the lateral. So I just want to make sure you're talking about the lateral for the sewer, not the water service or supply.
Yeah, the sewer, right. It's not going to pick
Yeah,
that
it's
up.
not going to pick up any.
Just the water service.
It's just just metering the water service, yes.
Will it pick up, from Councilman Squilla, I'm going to ask the question for him, will it pick up a problem if there's a water service leak?
It has the ability to do that. Their technology is one of the reasons we pick Sensus is because a lot of the extra features are more advanced and proven with Sensus than any of the other vendors. And so that is a possibility. It will, if you have a leak in your home after the meter, that's what that notification is going to provide customers, though. So it will notify you if, say, you're usually 5 CCF and you start using, 10 CCF, that says there's a leak, potentially.
Right.
And it will notify customers.
So other cities who've used this technology, have they been able to track savings as a percentage of the water bills for their residents?
I'm sorry, what was that again?
Other cities that are using this technology, have they been able to track the percentage that those residents have saved annually on their water bills?
I'm not aware of that occurring.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much for your testimony. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much, Councilman. Any other questions for the panel? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to testify on this bill? Seeing none, this concludes today's public hearing. We will now go into our public meeting to consider actions on the bills heard today. The chair recognizes Councilman Mark Squilla from the great area of South Philadelphia for a motion on the amendments to Bill number 180972.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I offer an amendment to Bill Number 180972. A copy of the amendment has been circulated to all members of the committee. I move that the amendment to this Bill 180972 be approved.
Second. It has been moved and properly seconded that the amendment to Bill Number 180972 be approved. All those in favor of the motion? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries, and the amendment to Bill Number 180972 has been approved. The chair recognizes Councilmember Mark Squilla for a motion on Bills Number 181007 and 180972 as amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move that Bill Number 181007 and Bill Number 180972 as amended be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation, and further move that the rules of council be suspended to permit the first reading of these bills at the next session of council.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it, and the motion carries. Bills numbers 181007 and Bill Number 180972 as amended will be reported from this committee with a favorable recommendation with a request that the rules of council be suspended to permit first reading at the next session of council. This concludes the business of this committee. We will stand in recess to the call of the chair. Thank you very much, everyone.